on here between these two teams. In fact, speaking of that, we're already in the next tier of picks. So let's take a closer look here and see as far as what the hell has been going on. As far as the initial bans here, kind of interesting. Tundra, Sir Bensington, Pharaoh, Chronos. So I don't know, man. I still, we kind of touched on it in the first game, but I mean, even more so this game. It's who would have thought even a couple months ago, if you told me I would be calling out Tundra, Sir Bensington, Pharaoh, and Chronos as actual legit bans amongst two of the best teams in the world, would have been like, who the hell are you? You're crazy. You're ludicrous. Get away from me. Now I welcome you, because obviously that's what we see here. Tundra's one thing, but Sir Bensington, Pharaoh, Chronos, but again, it speaks for itself. These heroes, the presence they bring. Obviously, the other thing to note with these bans here is that they all happen to be suicide potential heroes. Even Tundra, definitely. So, kind of interesting from that aspect as well. But also, Sync Esports were the one to ban Tundra on top of it all. So, I mean, that even goes back to Stay Green banned the last game. It was a case of, well, they don't have Pro Busk on Sync anymore, but still, he is a scary hero. But being banned out here once again. So, by the other team. So kind of interesting to definitely note that. But anyways, let's take a look now as far as the actual picks. It was Puppet Master first pick into Rhapsody, Pestilence into Ophelia, and now Master of Arms into Slither. So obviously a big thing to note there as well. No junglers banned out the initial bans, and thus we see Ophelia picked up here for Stay Green. And obviously you can argue perhaps the most threatening and dangerous jungle hero that you want to be going up against. But Sync Esports will be going up against that here. And you look at the bans then coming out to follow. Moraxis, Torturer, Pebbles, Parasite, Keeper of the Forest, Bubbles coming out. So, I mean, you look at Stay Green's lineup, speaking of that, both. They got Rhapsody, Ophelia. That alone is a ridiculously strong combination. I'm a little surprised they didn't ban out Warbeast, to be honest, because it seems like this is definitely a lineup that really screams Warbeast as well. For Stay Green, a Suicide Warbeast here. You got a short lane Slither. You have a Rhapsody, and say maybe a Pebble. No, Pebble's actually banned, so couldn't do that. But whoever else for that middle lane presence. So the bans, though, there was Moraxis, Pebbles, and Keeper. So, Keeper, you can see why, too. But definitely I'm eyeing that Warbeast. Would not be surprised to see Stay Green most certainly picked it up. But now you look at Sync Esports, the lineup that they have at hand. They got a lot of physical presence, of course. Pestilence, Master of Arms, great minus armor potential. Puppet Master set them nicely for him. The Tempest, though, is still on the board, so it's going to be interesting to see if they want to go for that Tempest pickup. Tends to be a little bit more of a passive, though, of course, and if you're going to be getting pretty heavily pushed up against, might not be their best option here. So, again, wouldn't be surprised to see that not coming out at the same time for Sync Esports. In fact, in the series against Racing Game, we noted that a couple times. Heroes like Tempest and Jungles in general seem to be passed out by both of those teams. A little more surprising that Sync Esports was passing it out. But again, wouldn't be surprised to see that same concept here. 10 seconds left. Electrician we're going to be seeing. Very, very interesting. Again, we saw that in the Reason Gaming series. Electrician, I want to say he was picked up a couple of the games. I'm trying to think back to Tuesday. And was it Sync Esports or was it even Reason Gaming? I'm honestly blanking on who ultimately picked up this hero in that series. But I know we saw him at least once, if not a couple times. And going to be the case here for Sync Esports. So very interesting to see that. Obviously great against heroes like Slither. As far as the purge effect goes, so maybe that's what they're thinking with that concept. Decent at counter pushing on top of that, the energy field, the electric shield, or energy absorption, very strong abilities to help with that for the counter push. So maybe some of that logic lies there as well. But they go the Electrician, so that's going to be fun to see. Not a hero we see too often, obviously. And is this going to be another one of these heroes that, going into these World Finals where we're like, oh, now we also have to worry about an Electrician option coming out. Maybe we'll get some more information on that here in game number 2. But Stay Green, they're going to go Gauntlet here. So there you go. There's that partner for Rhapsody. And again, really keeping an eye on that Warbeast. I think that just puts the lineup together very, very well here for their side. So now I will say Electrician also is decent against a hero like Warbeast, not only because of the lockdown he brings with the static grip and the duration of that, but also the purge effect. It will kill those Hellhounds pretty quickly. Not that that's the absolute biggest deal in the world, but it is definitely something to keep in mind. Master of Arms being right-clicked over here, but they already have it, so never mind. They're down to 11 seconds left. They're thinking, okay, Tempest. Yeah, again, that was definitely an option. It's who they want to pair up with, maybe that short lane Puppet Master, and they go Riftwalker in the end. So again, another hero we saw on Tuesday. Riftwalker coming out right here. We'll see what potential she brings to the table for this lineup. Again, will she be the main support or the secondary support here? I want to say we saw Zlapt actually play it against Reason Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, and do pretty solid with it. Maybe something that dual lane presence, something like a Puppet Master Riftwalker mid, and you got Master of Arms Pestilence bottom perhaps, and then Electrician Suicide. They have potential for tri-lane definitely as well. Wouldn't be absolutely out of the question, so we'll see how they ultimately shape up. And maybe that's where Stay Green is not so sure about that Warbeast pickup anymore, but I still think that could prove to be the ultimate solid choice here. Again, it really does fit well, like I said, with that the push idea and that team synergy, and they still need that Suicide presence, really, when it comes down to it. So pending some different pickup that unexpected. I mean, I guess it wouldn't have to be unexpected. There are still some solid options on the board. They do go Warbeast in the end. So yeah, again, it just made sense here. Obviously, wanted to make sure with the time that they're thinking about, and they do go Warbeast when it's all said and done. Chessie gonna go ahead and ready up on that Warbeast. Again, it's the case of Limp usually plays that Suicide role, but if it happens to be Warbeast, you're gonna see Chessie on it. He's just too damn good with the hero, has too much history with the hero, and gonna be seen here playing it yet again. So obviously you have a great idea of what Stay Green's going for in terms of their presence in this game. They're all about, we need to get a good start here. We need to definitely get that push and the teamfight presence going earlier than later and kind of work off of that. So this could be a quicker game. At least that's what Stay Green is definitely going to maybe try to eye for here in terms of game number 2 to try to even the series up, because again, it's obviously Sync Esports currently up 1-0 here in this best out of 5. So here we go into the laning phase. Closer look and see as far as pooled regen and whatnot. So far, Slither getting a little bit of pooled regen here, both the Tree Eaters as well as a health potion. Now he's going to start buying his own. Speaking of that, Warbeast gets that Ward of Sight delivered to him, and Chessie's heading right away towards that bottom lane, of course. Yeah, when you look at Stay Green's lineup, I don't think they're going to be doing anything too fancy or either with that lane setup. Pretty much self-explanatory. Short lane Slither, you got the jungle presence Ophelia, Gauntlet Rhapsody mid, and of course the Suicide Warbeast going to be coming out here. But again, Sync Esports, not 100% certain what we're going to be seeing from them as far as their setup is concerned. And I wouldn't be surprised to see more of maybe an aggressive laning situation here coming out from Sync Esports. But at the same time, having to deal with that battle cry could definitely come into play. And obviously Ophelia and her jungle presence could be painful to deal with, but we'll see again what Sync Esports ultimately goes with here. As far as their setup is concerned, initially they're going to go through, they're going to double block another camp right here. This one happens to be the one next to the lane. They are going to send Riftwalker Electrician top? No, she's cutting down. This is just going to be an Electrician solo top in the end, kind of going from there. So they block, they also block the side camp here. Obviously Ophelia going to spot that off the bat. She does have 2 Rev Wards on her, and the courier is ready to go. So I assume she has a good evidence. Oh, is that going to be spotted? Is that in range? It is. It should be in range, yeah. All right, going to be able to counter that right there. So the 30-second spawn here at this jungle camp will be successful. Over here, however, another story. I have to keep an eye on that as far as when that is actually going to be happening. So as far as the lanes now elsewhere, you have your middle lane. It is going to be the Pestilence Master of Arms mid, actually. And they decided to be safe with the Puppet Master here. Have him sent to bottom. And it's going to be him and a Riftwalker. Make sure to get that very, very good farm on him. Yeah, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, obviously, you know, we talked about this, and Sadius brought this up. Gauntlet's really strengths are going up against that dual range, if anything, because he gets that pulling on the squishier hero, and they could definitely burst him down. So sending the Puppet Master mid here could have been a fault here for Sync Esports with that said, and again, just making sure she's having a good time and give Pestilence that opportunity to get some solid farm himself. So you see right off the bat, Rhapsody doing a good job of applying a lot of pressure, and Master of Arms actually going to stack the yellow camp in the meantime to make sure that they have that option to go for when it calls for it here. Warbeast, though, doing the initial pull as always, and Chessie going to start spamming that battle cry. So once again, the other thing to keep in mind, the battle cry, the glowing red hands here across the board on Stay Green side, especially in the jungle presence too, because obviously Ophelia and her minions even are affected by that. Even more so why that combination is just so powerful, you know, for that push eventually. So, but also that early game progressing to that push stage even comes faster because of that battle cry presence. So again, it's just the synergy of the two heroes makes so much sense. And Stay Green definitely has a big strength going for them when it comes down to it. You know, Puppet Master, that carry option choice was the first pick overall, of course. Definitely more of that single target carry, obviously, with her skill set, but we'll see what kind of an impact that has this time around. But so far, he's doing a pretty good job of actually pulling the Hellborn creep wave right here with KZU, or not KZU, but Chessie doing his thing on Warbeast. Usually would be KZU if it was for Sync Esports. He's making the best of his time right here and actually just even jungling, especially with that change that happened a while back to the creeps, obviously being able to tank a lot more effectively in those jungle creeps. So making the best use of that, and the lane is going to be pushed back in his favor right here, it looks like, for now at least. Pending, oh, no, the Hellhound's actually getting a couple of creeps right there. Looks like Riftwalker was able to at least drag a couple in. The jungle camp, the hook attempt just out of range. A Pestilence there in the meantime. Obviously, they got him low initially right there. Looks like the Infernal Instability was used, and they were trying to hook him to bring him back in and finish him off. But just out of range, and Mickey will survive for now. Playing that Pestilence right here. Top end in the meantime, Electrician. He's taking some good damage. Will this be enough for the kill? Swinamail's trying to finish him off. One auto attack. He gets it up. No, but the Electric Shield. Will this be enough, though? The poison damage, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think it's going to be fine. Yeah, he should be fine in the end. Holy crap. Living life on the edge, but, you know, Electrician's solid in the sense he has that Electric Shield to keep himself alive as long as possible, and definitely coming into play right there. As you see,
gotta mash that W.
Yeah, there you go. Man, oh man, scary moment. But welcome back, Beef.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I apologize there. That phone call took a few more minutes than expected, but got to watch most of the draft in the beginning of this game right here. Is SG, I mean, this resource advantage already is pretty favorable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not often that you see something this big without something like a level 1 kill, of course.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it does have to do, as usual, with a jungle factor. Jungle versus no jungle, and that in itself definitely plays a big role. But on top of that, too, yeah, the lanes are definitely setting up pretty nicely here for Stay Green. And you know, so I was kind of talking about the draft here, and it made the Warbeast pick was just so obvious at the end, too. The lineup that Stay Green got here, it's a very scary, very threatening lineup. If they get out of this early game stage just fine, which right now it's so far is obviously accomplishing that, you're not going to be able to stop this. I mean, the push is just absurd that they have. And it's just a matter of time before that gets going for Stay Green. So I think it's like Sync Esports is almost already on the clock here in terms of needing to make something happen. But the lanes aren't going the best for them here.
Agree. Yeah, they certainly aren't, and as you'd mentioned, I mean, the momentum that they're going to be able to get from just those first tower pushes is going to be so strong. Once they're able to get a Portal Key on Gauntlet, they're going to be able to initiate with proper team fights, and Sync, I'm not really sure what they're going to have going for them here. Really going to need to be relying on this Puppet Master to have the kind of items that he needs to try to stop a team fight. And ultimately, I think they're going to be relying a lot on this Riftwalker getting level 6 relatively early and trying to set up some of those really big wormholes to try to get proper initiation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that? Riftwalker again coming out here for Sync, and then the Electrician on top of that. You know, another case of we did see these heroes on Tuesday actually, and I was blanking on if it was actually Sync that ran the Electrician. I know they ran the Riftwalker, but I want to say they also ran the Electrician themselves, and we actually saw that even a couple times in that series. So that was kind of interesting and fun to see there. But speaking of him, actually, again, big dive coming out right here. Yeah, there is a. Oh, middle lane, actually. Support gets bloodlusted. How about that? And down goes Electrician. So, well then.
All over the place, Breaky.
Yeah. Yeah. This start
looking really bad for Sync.
Yeah.
They're looking atrocious. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how you come back from this. You've already given SG the smallest amount of momentum. They've got a level 7 Slither and a level 6 Ophelia now barreling down in your top lane. What are you going to do to combat this? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Electrician's going to have to cancel his TP here.
No.
Or not.
Or he will die.
Okay. Casey's like, YOLO!
In that German accent of his, yeah. No chance.
That's awkward.
No chance. Yeah, again, this is your classic case of one team outdrafted the other. It's safe to say. Stay Green, they got you could argue even a near perfect draft. I mean, again, this is when you see a lineup where it's like, wait a second, was this game all pick or was it actually captain's pick? I think that's kind of the reaction I'm having here, and a lot of people even. It's Stay Green. They got all 5 heroes they could have really wanted here, and the laning situation was just well in their favor from the beginning. They set themselves up beautifully, and obviously the execution has definitely been on the ball too. So I have a feeling this could be a quicker game here, no doubt.
Yeah.
Pending Flensmeister making some big plays with the farm he has, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, this is going to be a relatively short one, and like you said, it kind of comes back down to that drafting when you're choosing to ban out heroes like Pebbles and Meraxes instead of addressing some of the follow-up pushes like a Gauntlet or a Warbeast heroes that do fit more into the lineup that was already been shown with an Ophelia and a Slither. I mean, it's kind of questionable, and that might even come down to a first pick Puppet Master as well.
Yeah.
A hero that is known to not really have the most ability to fight super early, but middle lane Mickey perhaps being caught out. Okay, he was caught out, just not killed. Master of Arms gets there and lends a hand with the goo. The little guy makes it back safely. Yay.
It's one thing to give up an Ophelia Rhapsody first 2 picks, but yeah, exactly. The ban on Keeper of the Forest, it's like, okay, but yeah, they left Warbeast open. They had the Slither even before that, as we were talking about, so it's just, again, it's just all coming together nicely here for Stay Green, and well on their way already to a Game 2 victory. And I always find this interesting how, again, Stay Green's a team that's down 1-0 here in this best out of 5. Yeah, they're just setting up to just obliterate game number 2, but obviously just even more reinforcement as to why the draft is, of course, very important in Heroes of Newerth, let alone the MOBA genre in total, of course. So, also fun to see heroes like Electrician and Riftwalker, of course, but alas, once again, probably not going to see too much of them throughout this game. I was also bringing up the initial bans that happened this game. I mean, we kind of touched it in the last game. The bans, it was Tundra, first off banned by Sync Esports, which I found interesting. And then it was Pharaoh, Sir Bensington, and Kronos on top of that. All suicide heroes, but just all heroes you're like, I would have never thought those would have been bans 2 months ago. Yet
Yeah.
they were here, and for good reason. But obviously there's action going on, but I'm at a point it's like, they might as well concede now.
What's that?
They might
You
as
hear
well
that off in the distance, Breaky? Choo, choo. The
Yeah.
train's a-coming. The train's barreling right down the middle lane now, Breaky, and Sync has no way to respond to it. You got a Riftwalker that's level 4, Master of Arms that doesn't even have boots, and of course Pestilence, nowhere near a portal key. He doesn't even have Steam boots yet, and a Puppet Master that has invested primarily into a single target disable and is now getting hooked and subsequently killed.
That's how it usually works when a team is this far ahead. Yeah, the hook leads to a kill, and the Astrolabe peels, the reinforcement here on Stay Green in terms of them just being able to stand strong in these fights is obviously ridiculous, and I think they're going to go for Conqueror, and there's nothing Sync can do about it. Absolutely nothing they can even remotely. And this is a very good Conqueror killing team. You have not only Gauntlet to lead the way, but obviously Warbeast and Ophelia with the minions and what they bring to the table, so yeah, this will be a very quick and easy Conqueror kill here, and not even necessary really, but at the same time, you know, they're not going to be able to, they don't want to push it to the pace just yet. It's still a little scary at this early on in the game, even with their lead, so might as well make the best of the time.
I'm not sure what the rules are as far as conceding before 15 minutes are, at least in this event, but I think if Sync was aware that they had the opportunity to, they might be just saying, let's go new.
Yeah.
Because this one is pretty over. I mean, 7-0 in hero kills is pretty big to begin with, but you also got to take into consideration the towers and the Conqueror that they just got, and especially the hero compositions. There's just, short of Stay Green like actually losing their minds for a few minutes and just diving repeatedly into terrible team fights and towers, there shouldn't be much of a way of coming back into this. The thing I'm hoping to see is a portal key on Limp here, ASAP, and some big hooks. That's what I want to do the rest of this game.
Well,
Doesn't need the PK for that one.
yeah, who needs a PK when they just run right up to you and allow you to hook them in their face, basically. So he takes advantage of that situation right there, and obviously they're now grouping up bottom. They're going to push in that tower, and you got to think that Sync. I do. Part of me almost wants to say too, if Sync even realizes how far they are down, because obviously we have all these stats to look at. It's so obvious for us, but I would think
Oh, they
it's
know.
yeah. I think they do know.
They know.
That is the case. So, again, if anything, they're going to counter push here. They're just going to try for something here. It might as well play up into that 15-minute mark for obvious reasons. But Stay Green, is this going to be the push where they just break into the base? I think it might be. I mean, you have a tablet on Rhapsody already. Jesus. Not even 12 minutes into the game. Holy crap. Just look at that tower melt. The red glowing hands all over the place. Ay. Sync. Okay, here we go. Electrician's like, here's our time. No, not really. He cancels it. The racks are easily going to fall right here. They just can't go in for obvious reasons. Cascading Event kind of does something, but not really. And here we go now. Outright. Poison Burst going off right there. Purge coming out onto Pestilence. It's going to be fine for now. Puppet actually trying to finish off Warbeast with his Voodoo Puppet. No deaths just yet. Oh, there we go. Master of Arms will fall. And actually, Gauntlet may fall. He throws out the Gauntlet Blast, so never mind. Down goes Puppet Master right there. Riftwalker. He's in trouble. I think it's over.
Yeah, we're gonna be going to game 3 here in just a minute between Stay Green and Joe's Pub Shack, and we'll see if Joe's is gonna be able to recover and retain their former names.
Joe's Crab Shack.
No, that's the Pub Shack here, Breaky. Please. Oh man, now I want some seafood.
I know.
Thanks, Breaky.
I do that. Yeah, is there really much else to say about this game? Obviously, it's just this is just one of those you're like, all right, delete from memory. Never happened. We're moving on here. Because it's just a pretty bad loss here for Sync Esports. But again, if anything, what this is going to do, this will tie the series up at 1 and basically make it a clean slate, best of 3, really. In the end, is probably the best way to look at it here, especially from Sync's perspective. So, for the time being, though, until we have a minute and a half here before we're probably going to be finished here in game number 2. Going to keep the truck going here for Stay Green specifically. And so now you like going to this next game here. It's like I don't know. I mean the bands. I don't think it was the bands that were necessarily bad. Although I'm kind of curious about them. But I don't know. They're probably not going to ban Ophelia because they could pick it up for themselves, obviously. But definitely, I think it's safe to say they're not going to let them get a Ophelia Rhapsody combination again, if anything. Let alone this whole lineup that they put together. So.
Should go without it.
They need to. I want Swinamels to stop banning Sir Bensington personally. We've only seen him a couple times, and I know he was so dominant, but he was fun to watch. Damn it, he was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, but what are you going to put in your short lane so that you are happy to go against a Sir Bensington? Like, what wins that matchup? Because I'm not sure. Like, he splits against a 1v2 in almost all cases. What actually beats him? Like, maybe a CD as Pestilence getting hooked out. See ya!
Wouldn't want to be. Protective Melody even coming up for good measure. Warbeast in the background, ulti form. He is forcing Puppet Master to just run this whole time, basically. And now here goes that middle tower push. So they're still well alive. Pestilence just kind of stands there. Mickey doesn't even care anymore. Life is over, man. 5 seconds left. And why not end it on good measure here? Puppet Master gets picked off, and there you go. Tower's gonna fall. There's the potency. Limp is doing his best to impersonate Super KG right here.
Yeah,
Pretty good at that.
Soto's been pretty outspoken that he thinks Gauntlet is the strongest of the hookers right now, and I think that this is one of the reasons why he wants Limp kind of playing this role a little bit more, is because Limp seems to be a little bit more confident with the hooking heroes. Finally, we see a wormhole from Riftwalker. Unfortunately, the game is over.
Unfortunately, I already left because game's over.
Anyway. Good draft from SG. Good momentum.
Anything else? I think that kind of wraps it up. That's